On a fateful evening, Ryan Carson was stabbed to death. He was a beloved member of his community and well known for his kind nature and helpful attitude. The incident occurred on a Thursday evening, with a witness claiming to have seen a man in dark clothes fleeing the scene. Ryan Carson had been walking down the street when he was approached by an unknown assailant. Witnesses say they heard him plead for his life, but it was to no avail. His life was taken in an instant. The police were immediately informed of the incident and opened an investigation, interviewing those who had been present at the time. Shockwaves spread throughout the small town of which Ryan was a part, and many people were left bewildered and terrified. The family of Ryan struggled to come to terms with the tragedy and were supported by members of the community who had known him. As the investigation continued, all evidence pointed to a man who had been seen in the area at the time of the attack. He was eventually arrested and brought to court where he was charged with Ryan's murder. The trial was a difficult and emotional affair, with Ryan's family and friends testifying about the impact his death had had on their lives. The defendant maintained his innocence throughout but could not account for his whereabouts at the time of the attack. It was eventually decided that insufficient evidence had been presented to the court, and the man was acquitted. Regardless, the impact of Ryan's death was felt throughout the town, and people continued to mourn his tragic loss. His family, however, decided to take matters into their own hands and launched a private investigation into the murder. They worked tirelessly for months, speaking to witnesses and researching relevant details, determined to find out what had happened. Round-the-clock surveillance eventually paid off and the family was able to gather enough evidence to bring the perpetrator to justice. The family was pleased when the court found him guilty and sentenced him to life in prison. With justice finally served, the family of Ryan could start to move on with their lives. Ryan's passing would still be remembered fondly in the town, with memorials and plaques being erected in his honor. His death would never be forgotten, and the town would always remember his kind-hearted nature. Although Ryan's life was tragically cut short, his memory would live on in the hearts of his family, friends, and all those who had known him. It was a reminder to everyone that life is precious and should be treated as such. His death was a devastating loss to all of those who knew and loved him, but his legacy would live on. Not far from home there were many who remembered the impact that Ryan had made on their lives. They were grateful for the time that he had spent on this earth and could only hope to do him justice by living life to the fullest each day.